Atari Jaguar. Those two words seem to muster up much controversy amongst the mainstream gaming press. The controller is horrible, they say, or it's not really 64-bit. For those that own a Jag, you know most of that disdain is misguided. The Atari Jaguar is an excellent system with some awesome games. So with that, I present 5 great Atari Jaguar games. Raiden was a launch title for the Atari Jaguar back in 1993. It's a curious title for sure, as the original arcade title was released in 1990, with home ports following a year later. By holiday 1993, it was yesterday's news. However, from a retro gaming standpoint, this is an excellent shmup. First, this port is significantly better than the Genesis and Super Nintendo versions. The graphics feature far more colors and detail and scroll much more smoothly. I also like how the Jaguar port gives a truly vertical play area. Others have criticized the large heads-up display covering the right side of the screen, but trust me, this is how it should be. What makes Raiden such a great shmup is the fact that your ship always seems to be moving a bit too slow for the action going on around you. It gives you a feeling of desperation and forces you to commit to a strategy as you don't have time to change your mind and do something else. You will see the game over screen quite a bit as you slowly make it a little farther every time. The controls, music, and graphics are all excellent. While this might not be a technical masterpiece showing off what the Atari Jaguar can do, it's a brilliant playthrough today. I seem to be in the minority on this one, but I assure you, Atari Karts is a great game. As the name implies, this is a mascot kart racing game. From a technical standpoint, this blows Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo out of the water. The game runs in full screen and at a silky smooth 60 frames per second. There are also quite a few layers of parallax scrolling in the background. The rotating track has many colors and generally looks pretty great. Roadside objects and your rivals all scale nicely as they move towards or away from the screen, aiding in the slick presentation. Atari Karts leans more towards racing and is quite light on the combat. However, I rather enjoy this style of game. Power-ups are somewhat weak, but there are a few gems. The wheel reduces friction, allowing you to cut corners through the grass, dirt, and snow. The steering wheel power-up eliminates skidding, allowing you to go through turns at full speed. If you can correctly utilize all of these driver aids, you'll be well on your way to blitzing your fellow opponents. When you chain everything together, it's magic, and that's why Atari Karts is on this list. This is a must-own. Like many great games, Tempest 2000 is still receiving sequels to this day. Tempest 2000 is the quintessential Atari Jaguar game. The graphics could not have been done on the systems released before it, and the music absolutely shames anything without a CD-ROM drive. Tempest 2000 is a psychedelic tube shooter taking place in another dimension. It takes the vector-style graphics of the original and amplifies it tenfold. Sprites are constantly being broken into pieces, rotated, and melted. There are particle effects galore, and the chaos on the screen was unmatched for its time. The actual game itself is slightly less interesting than the graphics. Your ship's movement is limited to the edge of the polygon levels, and you must destroy enemies before they reach the end of the tube. The gameplay doesn't grab me as much as I would like, but there are legions of fans that absolutely love this game. There is definitely some depth to it that I've yet to discover. Despite this not being my favorite game, I can appreciate the quality here. It really is a showcase title, and if you own an Atari Jaguar, this is a must-have. fact that Rayman even exists on the Atari Jaguar is nothing short of a miracle. Why Ubisoft invested any amount of resources developing this for the Jaguar is one of life's great mysteries. Rayman is the first title in what would become an immensely successful franchise. It's a 2D platformer that features a limbless hero who must free his homeworld from the evil villain, Mr. Dark. What makes this game so special for me is the quality. I've played dozens of generic platformers from the mid-90s, and Rayman easily outclasses them all. The graphic quality is outstanding, featuring detailed sprites and multi-layered backgrounds. Rayman himself has no limbs, which allows for some exaggerated movements. All of the enemies are creative, well-animated, and have the same level of inventiveness. The whole world of Rayman has a lush look to it that I can't quite put into words. The soundtrack and sound effects also help complete the immersiveness of Rayman's environment. Even the sound when collecting the most minor of items is somehow perfect and fitting. The CD versions of Rayman might have a better soundtrack, but this cartridge version is no slouch. Rayman isn't perfect, however. The difficulty is brutal and oftentimes unfair. Thankfully, there are some cheat codes to effectively give you unlimited lives, which is the only way to play. Rayman on the Atari Jaguar is an anomaly. It belongs in every gamer's Jag collection.
Ready, set, go!
Super Burnout is probably the best game on the Atari Jaguar. This title didn't light the world on fire back in 1995, as there were too many exciting polygon racers being released. The graphics are everything you could want in a third-person line-scrolling racing title. The frame rate never drops below 60 frames per second, and everything races across the screen at a frantic pace. The roadside objects are plentiful and smoothly scale from distant blips to giant sprites as you race through the tracks. Some tracks even transition from night to day or day to night. Rather than featuring endless locations that mindlessly flow left and right, Super Burnout features actual tracks. They feel like tracks too, and you'll have a sense as to where you are and what is coming up next as you race through them. This allows you to memorize the courses and begin to learn a racing line through the bends. After that, you start to learn how to break the rules of the game and speed through turns faster than should be possible. It's an absolutely brilliant romp and, unquestionably, my favorite 2D racing game of all time. The Atari Jaguar truly had some gems, but Super Burnout is my favorite because there are no buts. There is nothing about this game I would change. The track design is excellent, the bike selection is perfect, the championship mode isn't too long, the quality of the music is superb, and the graphics are mesmerizing. Super Burnout expertly captures the feel of an 80s arcade racer and blends it effortlessly into a deep console title. So there you have it. If money is no object, these are 5 must-own titles every Atari Jaguar owner should have in their collection.